share your thoughts, share yourself. We are going to be talking about connection. And so to create connection, we have to interact with each other, right? So I think a lot of us are used to sitting on Zoom meetings and kind of just, zoning out or expecting somebody to kind of talk at us. And I'm going to try my best not to be talking at you, but encouraging some engagement here. So just to be aware of that as well. And we will be doing some art together. Like Cassie said, you do not need to be an artist to be in this workshop. I personally am not an artist, but I do like to create art. And we don't need to be good at art for art to be good for us. So you will need some type of artistic materials. So that can be colored pencils, it can be crayons, it can be paint, it can be whatever you'd like, and a piece of paper. So again, we don't need to make anything like a masterpiece or anything by that nature, but just some form of some coloring utensils would be great. So I'm going to go ahead and share my presentation and we'll get started. I need to share my screen first. All righty. Give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Great, awesome. So this workshop is part of the Foundation of Art and Healing. So that is a foundation if you are if you want to look into more art therapy type things, and especially art therapy in relation to creating connection, social connection, definitely check out the Foundation of Art and Healing. This workshop is inspired by what they do and their project Unlonely. They have a lot of really incredible things on their website. So again, definitely recommend checking them out. So, like I said, we're going to start off with sharing a little bit about ourselves. So we're going to introduce ourselves to everyone here. And I'd like you to think about how you're feeling right now. So right in this moment, you want to just check in with yourself and translate that feeling to a color. So we're going to unmute and share who we are, what's our name, and what color did we pick and why. So I can get started. My name is Sunn, like I said, and my color today is probably blue. It's a little bit of a calm feeling day. There's also lots of bright blue skies here in northern Arizona, so I'm feeling a little bit of that like clarity right now. So again, we're going to popcorn style. Anybody who wants to unmute, please do so and share what is your name and what is the color that you're feeling today.
I can go first if necessary.
Awesome.
Alrighty. I'm Dalton, as you can probably see in the corner there. But I'm feeling pretty orange today. A little bit of recovery from a hectic day yesterday, and everybody's being real nice and cool. A lot of folks seem happy today. So I'm feeling a little tad bit unusual, but pretty good on the recovery.
Love that. Thank you for sharing.
Michelle, I'm feeling kind of purple today, and that is because purple can't decide whether it's blue or red. And I am not real good at social interaction, so I am just kind of like unsure about the whole thing. So that's where I'm at.
Awesome. That is completely fair. I also love that comparison of purple and a little bit of that insureness.
Hello. So I'm Cassie, and I just realized the coincidence of me wearing a pink top and me choosing pink for my color, and I'm not a pink gal. So I'm not one of those girls that really loves pink, but I'm feeling pink because I just have a lot of gratitude for everyone showing up today, and I have a few close friends and loved ones that are just kind of going through a pretty rough spell at the moment, and so I just have a lot of love to give to them and empathy as well. So that is where I'm at.
Thank you so much for sharing.
I'll go next. I'm Amber, and let's see. I'm just gonna be cliche. I picked actually my name, Amber, the color, because between yellow and orange, just because I definitely feel like cheerful today. I got up early, dropped my daughter off at cross country practice, and it's always good just to wake up feeling refreshed, energized, and ready to come to work and do the best I can do to provide support to employees. So that's kind of my vibe right now.
Love it.
Hey, can you guys hear me? Is this working?
Yes.
Check, check. Hello, hello. I don't know. It's not working. Can you guys hear me now? Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
I can hear you. Can everyone else hear?
Can you guys hear me? Thumbs up? Down? Oh, sweet. All right. Let's see. Think about how you feel. I don't know. I think like maybe orange. It's gonna be a bright day today. I'm loving that one. Yeah, I can't hear anyone right now. Can someone speak so I could see if it's working?
Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. Sweet. Yeah, it is. All right.
Oh, great.
Oh, so I'm Brandon, and yeah, orange is my color today for a nice bright day as soon as I get outside.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Thanks for having me. We got Anthony over here too. He's kind of off to the side in the studio, but
Does he want to share his color?
yeah, Anthony, you want to share your color, buddy? Get in here.
I'm Anthony. My color today is green. Some green grass is what I'm thinking about right about now. But that would be nice. Have some rain, some grass, just trees, some plants. That's what I'm thinking about.
Sounds very grounded. Anyone else remaining?
My color is yellow. I'm pretty excited. After today, I'm going up north, spending some time in Flagstaff. So pretty excited for that. Going to Arizona, so also yellow for wrapping up all of my work stuff. It's always kind of a panic before you go on vacation. Gotta get this done, make sure all stuff's packed. So that's my color right now, yellow.
Love that. A little bit of excitement, maybe a little bit of rush feeling. It's beautiful here. This week is supposed to be gorgeous. So excited to have you up in Flagstaff. Awesome. Thanks y'all so much for participating and sharing your colors and sharing who you are. So great to meet you all. So today we're here to make art together. We're going to tap into a little bit of creativity. We're going to experience a little bit of mindfulness. We're going to have conversations. Hopefully they're conversations that make us feel connected to one another. And we're going to learn about loneliness and connection. And most importantly, again, we're here to connect. So first of all, let's start off with what is loneliness and why is it important that we're talking about this? Sometimes there's a gap between what we want in our social connection versus what we have. And loneliness is the feeling that we have about that gap. So we can be surrounded by people, right, and still have that feeling of loneliness. And that's totally normal and that's totally okay. So we're here kind of normalizing that and also accepting that we have some tools that we can utilize to support our well-being and support us feeling connected to others. We know that loneliness can affect physical and mental health, and that 1 in 3 people are lonely right now. So that's a lot of people, specifically in America, who are feeling lonely. So again, it's a total normal thing to be feeling, and there's a lot that we can do to support us feeling connected to others, and hopefully we're going to be achieving a little bit of that with this workshop. So has anybody, if you want to do a little raise of the hand, seen this epidemic of loneliness by the Surgeon General? Cassie has. Few people haven't. Okay, so this was put out by the Surgeon General in 2023, and it was just exploring the epidemic of loneliness that we're experiencing in America. Again, like I said, 1 in 3 people are feeling lonely or isolated right now. So it's a conversation that needs to be had and is also impacting a lot of people's health. We know that loneliness has similar health risks as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, which is crazy, right? So there's a lot that we can do to hopefully mitigate some of those risks and decrease our risk of creating or having some health issues. So we know that connection and social connection is one of the strongest protective factors against self-harm and suicide among people with already underlying mental health challenges. So that connection is a huge protective factor for mental health. We also know that social connection has positive immune benefits and inflammation benefits, and that loneliness they've actually studied can have impacts on our ability to have a strong immune system and to fight off inflammation. We also know that according to the CDC, social connection can lead to a longer life, it can lead to better health, and it can improve our overall well-being. I think we can all kind of think about why that might be and how, even if we may have some social anxieties and we don't like maybe large groups or certain types of group sizes, having social connection and feeling connected with the people in our lives can make us feel really fulfilled. We also know that we're more likely to make healthy choices and have better mental and physical health outcomes when we are feeling connected to the people in our lives. And it's not about the size of, our friend groups or how many people we're connected to, but just how strongly we feel about our connections and our overall satisfaction with the connections that we have in our life. So there's 3 main types of loneliness, and this was put out by the Institute of Art and Healing. And I think a lot of us, when we think about loneliness, we think, we're just feeling alone. And it's not necessarily that. We can be alone. And I think a lot of us know this. We can be alone and we can be completely content being alone. There's many times in my day where I just need to be alone. And I'm sure you all have your own decompression times too, where it feels good to just be with yourself. But sometimes we feel a little disconnected from ourselves, and sometimes we feel disconnected from others. So when we think about loneliness, I think a lot of us think about psychological loneliness. So do we have close friendships? Do we have somebody that has our backs? Can we say, I've got a really great friend group that, that makes me feel connected? There's also societal loneliness, and this is our sense of belonging. So do I look around and do I feel valued by the people in my community or in my workspace? Do I feel like I'm safe here? Do I feel like I can look around and see people who look like me, or see people who have gone through similar experiences as me, or maybe understand a little bit of, where I'm coming from and what I've experienced in life? And then we have existential loneliness, and we all have existential thoughts, right? So these are those spiritual questions like, who am I? What am I doing here? And sometimes it can be things like, why have I been handed this problem? Why am I dealing with this? And we can feel lonely in some of those thoughts, especially if the people around us are not experiencing similar things to us. So some fun facts about color, because we're here to create, right? I'm just going to let a few more people in the waiting room. We're here to create, we're here to connect with colors, right? And colors have some great emotional connection, right? We just talked about what we were feeling today and how that was associated with a color. And some other fun facts about colors are that popcorn in a red bowl seems sweeter. So we can kind of think about when we go to the movie theater that we're getting popcorn in this like red and white container. Sports teams that wear black uniforms usually get more penalties, and that's because we associate, or a lot of people associate, black with aggressiveness. And then green boosts creativity. So they've done some studies on people who were exposed to green and then their creative processing when doing different work assignments. So maybe if you're wanting to add some more creativity in your life or wanting to add some more creativity in your thinking, you can add some green in your space or even maybe some plants in your space. So we can utilize colors to help us with shifting our emotions. And when we're thinking about loneliness and social connection, we can think about how can I utilize colors around me? How can I utilize colors and creativity to help me feel connected either with those around me or even with myself if I'm feeling a little bit disconnected from myself. And we're also going to explore colors a little bit more when we create together and what colors are we picking and maybe some of the reasons behind the colors that we're picking. I think we can also all acknowledge that when we think about colors, we kind of have different associations with them too. A few people mentioned orange for different reasons, right? Or maybe some people said blue, and blue to you may mean something different than it means to somebody else. So I mentioned that we're going to do a little bit of mindfulness, and we're going to do a very short meditation together. So if you're a little bit skeptical or worried about meditation, this is a very short, gentle meditation, so don't worry. And we're just going to pay attention to our breath together. So if you want to, you can close your eyes, or if you're not comfortable closing your eyes, you can just soften your gaze down, whatever feels good to you. And I just want you to pay attention to your breath. Just paying attention to your inhales, your breath going in, your exhales, your breath leaving your body, inhaling, exhaling. And as you pay attention to your breath, I want you to imagine breathing in calm. And when you breathe out stress. Breathing in calm and breathing out stress. And as we do this, I want you to assign a color to that calm that you're breathing in, and a color to the stress that you're breathing out. Breathing in that calm color and breathing out that stressful color. We'll take a few more breaths here. Breathing in calm, breathing out stress. And when you feel good, you can turn your attention back to the screen, back to the room. And I'd love to hear from some of you, what were the colors that you experienced? What was your calm color? And what was your stress color? Again, feel free to just unmute.
Mine was like a lavender, and then calm, and then stress was black.
What else?
I went with the purple theme, where the blue was calm and the red was stress.
Yeah, for me, calm was blue and then the stress was green.
Wow, okay.
I was breathing in blue, breathing out red.
Mine was the same. Breathing in blue, out with red.
Same. My red ended up turning into brown though.
Yeah. I love that. That's interesting. I wonder what the change, why the change was created.
Well, it was more like I was thinking, oh, I actually like the color red. I was like, I don't want to associate it with something negative. So I was like, what's something that's not like the best color? And I'm like, brown.
I love that. Just get the brown out. And it's really cool to see how some of us have similar associations, right? That blue can be that calming color, and maybe a little bit more of like a not like a harsh color, but more of a contrasting color is often that stress color. It's a very bold color. Thanks so much for sharing. And just to mention that this is a little meditation that you can do at any point, right? You know, if I'm standing in line in the grocery store, breathing in blue and breathing out brown, I don't think anybody's going to be like, what are you doing? You know, but we can utilize this as a skill if we are feeling stressed in the middle of our day, or if we're feeling stressed, you know, or maybe we're having a hard time falling asleep, utilizing this as an ability to just connect with ourselves, connect with that color again, and calm that nervous system down.
Hey, can I share something?
Yes, please.
So yeah, the reason I chose blue and red, I heard this thing one time. People say like to keep like a cool temper, like your temperament, right? Like you want to have a cool head, right? And so like I've always heard this too, like, and it's for like health too, is like you want to bring your heat to your feet, right? So I've heard this. So like to keep a cool head, you bring your heat to your feet, and so you breathe in cool air. So like if you're visualizing like cooler colors, blue or whatever, and you're breathing in, you're kind of breathing into your head rather than like breathing into your heart, like kind of direct your like breath control to one or the other, depending on how you're feeling. Someone taught me this a while ago, is like if you are like temperamental or you've got a lot going in your head, to like breathe into your head. And then when you blow out, breathe down. And so it kind of pushes the temperament down or something like that. So I've always kind of associated that, like when you said associate the breath with the color, I was thinking, oh, like keep a cool head, blue's cool, breathe it into your head, blow out like the fumes, the temperament, the stress or whatever. So that's kind of how I associated that. Maybe that helps someone else later on. But yeah, heat to your feet to keep a cool head. I don't know.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. I love how you associated the colors with those temperatures too, right? So great. Thank you for sharing. Awesome. So what can we do about loneliness? One, we know that we need authentic connections, and we just went over all of the great benefits of having connection and connecting with others. And not only that, but with ourselves as well. But how do we do that? And there's a lot of different ways. And again, loneliness is a big thing that's being studied right now. And there's a lot of research going into how do we, how do we help people to feel connected with others? How do we help people feel connected? And we're all very different, right? If you throw me in a room with a bunch of people playing video games, I personally am not going to feel connected with those people. But some people will feel more connected playing a game with somebody else, especially something in that type of setting. But one way that's really heavily researched is creativity. And a cool fact is that creativity lights up the same part of the brain as connection. So when we're using creativity, we're also connecting into that part of us that feels that connection with ourselves, with the world around us, with the people around us. And I think we can all associate with seeing something and feeling connected, whether that is a piece of art and maybe feeling connected to the person who created that art, or a piece of music, and we've associated that piece of music or that song with something in our life or a person in our life that we feel really connected to. Or maybe it's viewing a film and we feel really connected to what the person is experiencing and the actor is portraying on the film. There's lots of ways of feeling connected. And again, creativity and art is one of those ways that we can really tap into that. We also know that creativity builds confidence and empowers self-care. When we're creating, we start to really tap into, I'm feeling good about this, or I feel like I can achieve this. And even if it's just creating a colored piece of paper, or I've been really into paint by numbers lately. I don't have to be a perfect artist to feel like I can connect to that paint by numbers, and I can feel empowered by completing that, but also setting aside time to care for myself, to be still, and to tap into my creativity there. It also connects you to a moment, yourself, and others. And by doing so, creativity can help us with that mindfulness act. And we know that mindfulness is so important for our mental health, our emotional health, and again, being able to center ourselves. And then we know that it's also a great outlet for expression. So there's a lot that we experience in life, right? And sometimes it's hard for us to even put to words exactly what we're experiencing. But using creativity allows us to express our emotions in a healthy way, and maybe express in a way that we wouldn't be able to with words, or we wouldn't, maybe don't know how to share with others. So we're going to do a really quick little mindfulness activity again, and then we're going to move into creating together. So I want you to take a moment and think about a person, a place, or an experience that makes you feel that sense of connection. And try not to overthink it, but just choose one. And imagine, how do you feel when you think about that person, place, or experience? Again, just tapping in, noticing what's happening in your body. What are the emotions that come up when you think about that? What are the feelings? And once you've got that dialed in, we're going to start expressing ourselves. So think about, again, what are the feelings that arise when you think about that person, place, or experience? And what are the colors that come up when you think about that? We're going to grab our piece of paper and whatever coloring utensils you decided to bring with you today. Again, that can be crayons, colored pencils, paint, anything of that nature, or just pens if you have some pens around. And I want you to we'll take a little bit of time here. Let's take like 9 to 10 minutes here. So really take your time. There's no rush in this. And just enjoy putting those colors and that experience onto paper. And we do not need to be artists here. And I actually encourage you to do this as abstractly as you can. So not even thinking about what am I drawing, but how can I draw this abstractly? All right. Any questions before we get started? Awesome. Go for it. I'm going to put on a little bit of music. Hopefully y'all can hear it. And we'll just take a moment to create. Y'all hear my music? No, I think I have to share my audio as well. I'm going to stop my share. Y'all keep creating. Let's take about 1 more minute to wrap up what we're creating. Alrighty. You want to just find a good spot in your creation. And we're going to break out into some breakout rooms. And so we'll probably have one room of 3 people, but most of them will be pairs. So in your pairs, I'd love for you to share your creation, whatever you drew, and tell the story behind it, whatever you want to share about what you created. And again, we can be as vulnerable or as not as we want to be. And we're not here to judge anybody else's creation, right? We are not all artists here, and we're not meant to be artists here. We're just sharing what we created. So we'll take turns, maybe about like 2 minutes per person to share what did you create and what's your story behind it. Does this sound good for everyone?
Sounds great. I just want to let everyone know too, I'm going to pause the recording here. I don't believe that Zoom records in the breakout rooms, but I just wanted to give you guys that space and give all of us the space to kind of share as vulnerably as we want to. So I am pausing the recording now, and then I'll pick it back up once we rejoin in the big room.
Anybody?
I can go first.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I drew this little alien thing here in the corner, but that's not part of it. That was something earlier. I drew this here. So what this is a theater stage curtain, a little bit of shade, and then a smiling face that looks a little eerie in the darkness. Um, it, the person that I thought of when that question was asked was my friend Isabel, who convinced me to join a bunch of clubs and stuff. And obviously, this is my time in theater. When I was getting in, I was a bit of an awkward person. I was silly and goofy with my friends, but everybody else just kind of shut down unless they were somehow to extend an olive branch first. And in theater, in a way, I was kind of pushed to express myself more in front of tons of people that I don't know at all. Uh, and I liked that kind of feeling of never exactly knowing how I was going to feel when I got out on stage, maybe even feeling super anxious, but it comes through in that raw emotion, that real feeling, which you wouldn't expect from an actor, acting. It came through very powerfully and it felt awesome. It's mysterious, it's scary, but it's a good time.
I love that so much. And art, or theater is a form of art in itself, right? Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Who else wants to share?
Share. I don't know what happened, Dalton. I was in your breakout room and I didn't get to see your masterpiece before I got booted.
Yeah, I
I
was
ended up,
wondering what that was all about.
I don't know what happened. Hopefully you didn't end up alone. I ended up back in a room with Michelle and she was alone. So I don't know if somehow things got twisted, but um this is mine. And so it's just kind of a bunch of abstractness with different colors, but really what I was trying to capture is this memory of my family and I on the beach. And at the time, my youngest was about a year and a half, and he has very curly red hair. So the sun was just hitting it in this most amazing way where it just kind of lit it up. And then my 10-year-old at the time was jumping into the ocean fully clothed, even though we weren't there to swim. He just couldn't help himself. And we were just kind of walking on the beach barefoot. And my dad and my stepmom were there too. So it was just one of those beautiful memories I have. So when I want to go to like my happy place, that is literally my happy place. That is where I will go. So I was just capturing some of the sun through the ringlets, the orange ringlets of his hair, and some of the waves, and yeah, just the feel goods from that day. So
Oh my gosh, how gorgeous. And I love there's so much color on that page too. Anybody else want to share?
All right, I'm gonna share mine. Here we go. So that was probably my fault, Cassie. I jumped into a meeting while she was still talking on accident. I just clicked the button. So I went in there by myself, was like, I didn't finish, I didn't get to hear what she was saying. I didn't. So then I jumped out and then she let me back in. And then we were all in one anyways. So as a kid, like I started skateboarding at a really young age. I love skateboarding and I still do it. I'm in my 40s now and I still do it. And it makes me feel really connected to all kinds of things. A lot of time it's my environment. So it could be wherever I'm at. If I'm in like New York City, San Francisco, Phoenix, you begin to feel like you're part of the pulse of that city because you're connected, like, and you're rolling around and all that. But it doesn't always mean like that's the case. Sometimes I'll be at a park or a skate park and just rolling down the sidewalk and you feel connected to the breeze, the sunlight, it could be really hot and there is no breeze. And so I feel it's environmental. So I drew I'm not an artist, but drew a stick figure. And this is a skateboarder here, the sun, and a tree. And that's my
Gorgeous.
You guys like that? Cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. It sounds like for you, that's a really mindful experience, skateboarding.
Yeah, I think for anyone, yeah, any kind of, it's like, yeah, because you're outdoors. Yeah, and it's for me, it's kind of become part of a therapy session. I encourage people to like get physical when you're stressed because I feel like a stagnant body creates a stagnant mind sometimes.
Definitely.
I learned that young and I didn't know how it affected me until I started getting to my older age and actually dealt with, adult stress, I guess you could say. And I was like, wow. So it kind of like I went back to that and every time I do it, I'm like, man, I just feel great. It's like being on a high or like, however long, like if I do it for 2 hours, it's like I could go like a week and feel really good. I think people that work out probably feel the same way too and stuff like that. So yeah, thanks for letting me share.
Thank you so much for sharing. I love that. It also sounds a little bit like tapping into that inner child or that inner play. So great. Awesome. So actually going back to that, I would love to just hear maybe from one or two people, what was this experience like for you? And that can be drawing, the creation part, it can be the sharing part, it can be the whole entire thing. What was this like for you?
Okay, so I'll show mine. I have mine here. Can you guys see?
Yeah, let me stop my share.
Okay, yeah. So it's like, so these are like just like vines here, and then that's like a heart. I just kind of like wrote over, and then these are just lines. So I'm I'm very like I'm this person who like if I do something like with your instructions, I tend to have like lean towards perfection. And there is kind of some signs of that, like based off the fine lines, but I had to go through like my process of thinking, like when like the instructions you gave, I had to reread it and I was being very intentional with it and trying not to overthink because I tend to overthink with being perfect. And I was like, this is not about that. So I just kind of went with how I felt. And what stood out to me was the directions. And with like the words, I kind of went based off like shapes, colors and feelings. So in this case, it was all about like, connections, like organic. That's why the vines were there. That's what made me think of that, like the vines through organic. And then like the lines were like kind of like that wavelength of like connection and, the whole like heart of like love and connection and friendship and so forth. So that's kind of where like what it kind of this experience in this workshop, kind of how I went through that process. But yeah, there you go.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm sure a lot of us have also felt that sense of perfection, like, oh no, I need to get this right. And that's such a huge, sometimes can be a block to us connecting to ourselves and to others, is that perfectionism and like, I have to get it right. So I love that you brought that forward and also that you were able to witness that within yourself and say, maybe I don't need to do this absolutely perfect and see it and work with it too. Who else felt a little bit like you needed to be perfect with this? Maybe a couple of us? Awesome. Yes, definitely there, right? Especially when it comes to creating art and sharing it with others. Like, I have to make something that other people want to see, right? But that's not the case here. And we can create and be creative and create art just for the fun of it and just for us too. Awesome. So before we head out, I'd love for you guys to just put in the chat, what is one word of how you're feeling right now after this whole experience and this exercise together? Brave. Oh, I love that. Surprised. Connected. Definitely. That's what we wanted. Calm. Love it. Love all of these words. Happy. Gorgeous. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and joining me. I had such a fun time. I hope you guys enjoyed your time. And just going forward, I'd love for you to think about what are some ways that you can include creativity in your life and use it as a connecting point with others and with yourself. And then share what you learned today with others in your life. And if you want to learn more, I definitely recommend heading to theartandhealing.org. That is the foundation of Art and Healing. It's a completely nonprofit foundation for art therapy. There's a lot of really great stuff there. They have a whole film series. So if you're interested in film and acting, you might love that. But there's also lots of other things as well. So I want to give us time. I know we're kind of like right at the hour. So if there are any questions, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, we can all share our little pieces of what we created up to our screen if you're okay with it. And maybe later with the recording, we can do a little screenshot. Does that sound good? All right, I'm gonna hold mine up too. I think I can get us in gallery mode. There we are. Oh, I'm blurry. Love it. Thank you all so much for being here. Appreciate you so much. Any final words or final thoughts or questions?
I just want to say thank you to everyone for showing up to make this, a community experience and for being so vulnerable and brave and showing us what art skills you have. And thank you, Sunn, for leading and facilitating. It's been a long time since we've connected and I've missed seeing your face, but it was so awesome. And yeah, I just have so much gratitude to all of you for making this such an awesome experience.
Thank you as well. Thank you all so much for participating and being brave.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, have a wonderful rest of your
Thank you.
day.
Thank you, tons.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.